television. By the by, where do you winter?
Oh, well, generally, my ladies-in-waiting and I get the presidential suite at Disneyland. It's really quite lovely.
Well, rich people don't go to Disneyland.
They don't?
No, they go to Disney World.
Okay, then you know that. All right.
By now, we've covered the 4 major parks of Walt Disney World. Each park has some fun things to offer and some things worth skipping. But how do you get from park to park? Well, unlike the Disneyland Resort, which is small enough to have everything in walking distance, the hotspots of Walt Disney World are strewn far and wide throughout the vast swampland. As such, you'll probably want to take advantage of Disney World's free transportation! There's the famous monorail, modeled after the Disneyland monorail, with the key difference of not actually dropping you off inside any of the parks. Which means they could slap the Avengers on it without violating Universal's Marvel contract. Monorails here run between Magic Kingdom, Epcot, a few of the Magic Kingdom resort hotels, and the Transportation and Ticket Center. Some parks and hotels can even be reached by boat on the Seven Seas Lagoon outside Magic Kingdom, or Crescent Lake, which runs from Epcot to Hollywood Studios. And of course, the parks and resorts have bus stops with buses that can take you to nearly every other public spot on the property. It's nice that they make transportation relatively easy, and yes, we've already seen how using all this space allows for more variety of entertainment experiences than the smaller Disneyland Resort can offer us. But Florida's transportation system will still never be quite as efficient as Disneyland's walking distance. Sometimes you feel like you're waiting an hour for the bus to show up, and then it can take forever for the bus to actually reach your destination. So unless you want to spend half your day in transit, it's best to choose just 1 or 2 parks for the day and stick with them. Hope you picked good ones! But what if you come to Walt Disney World with your friends and then they all go into, say, a water park? You can't afford the water parks, they're not on your seasonal pass. It's just like the time they all went on that road trip and didn't tell you. Or the time you weren't invited to your own brother's birthday party. Or the time your dad forgot to pick you up from school and you were stuck hitchhiking with an overweight, bacon-smelling Swedish wrestler named Olaf. Well, fortunately, there's plenty at the Walt Disney World Resort that doesn't require any money. Sort of plenty. A bit. Yes, I'm talking about the resort hotels. Now I know what you're thinking. Aren't hotels really expensive, especially on the Disney property? Well, yeah, if you want to stay in them. But if you just want to walk around and soak them in, that's absolutely free. Sounds boring, you say, and I say, shut up, you sound stupid. And also it depends on which hotel you're looking at. Some of them have just as much atmosphere and Disney magic packed into them as one of the parks, and others don't. I'm not going to look at every single resort, since at my last count there were 378,000 of them, and they seem to be multiplying faster than some bacteria, but I'll look at a few of the major ones. Most of the resorts follow the same basic formula. They have a hotel, timeshare villas, gift shops, nice sit-down restaurants, fast food restaurants, a large pool area, a smaller, quieter pool area, arcades, and various other things depending on their theme. Also, all of the arcades have Pirates of the Caribbean pinball, I guess because they're trying to overcompensate for how short the actual ride is here. It comes as no surprise that out of all the parks in Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom is the one with the most additional stuff surrounding it. Within the Magic Kingdom's realm, there's a golf course, a racetrack, an abandoned water park, a campground, and 4 resort hotels surrounding the Seven Seas Lagoon. Each resort is designed as a companion to one of the park's lands. The Contemporary Resort for Tomorrowland, the Polynesian for Adventureland, the Grand Floridian for Main Street, and the Wilderness Lodge for Frontierland. We'll begin here at the Contemporary Resort, which is a really stupid name for a resort because it pretty much guarantees they're going to need to update the whole thing every couple of years just to remain contemporary. Actually, they don't need to update the style if they can just keep the theme vague enough that it can pass as contemporary in any era. Well, name theme aside, the Contemporary Resort might be the most convenient hotel you can stay at as a Magic Kingdom guest. You can walk right to the park, and everything else you need is right in the middle of the main floor. The restaurants, shops, arcades, artwork, even the monorail goes right through the building. And if you're too tired to stay in the park late enough to see the fireworks, you can see them from here. And I'm told they pump the show's audio into the lobby each night, so if you're staying here, you can experience the blandness from the comfort of your own hotel. And speaking of blandness, I'm sure this is a perfectly nice hotel to stay at, but there's not much to make it worth just visiting. It's hard to weave much Disney magic when your theme is an ordinary modern-day hotel. Plus, apparently, if we stay here too long, we grow extra limbs.
Oh, debut!
Next up is the Polynesian Resort, and this is what I'm talking about. Pick a theme and run with it. Ooze with atmosphere. This is why we come to Disney parks. Take us into another world. Even if that world is just an idealized and compressed version of an actual geographic location. There's a volcano water slide, there's a beach, there's dinner theater. Why would anybody stay at the Contemporary Resort when this was available? Okay, there's a bit of a price difference, but still, you're already staying at a Disney hotel, you can splurge a bit. Next, there's the Grand Floridian, which is considered Disney's most luxurious resort. It's Victorian-themed, modeled in part after California's famous Hotel del Coronado.
Belongs to Coronado.
Coronado's dead, and so are all of his grandchildren.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Unfortunately, like its counterpart Land Main Street, there's not a whole lot of entertainment here, but it's still worth a stroll through if you want to feel like you're in a Fitzgerald or Wodehouse novel that somehow got infected with mouse ears. The final Magic Kingdom resort is Wilderness Lodge, and I can't speak for the rooms, but the outside and the lobby really do capture the feel of a lodge in the middle of the woods.
And just to add to the desolate wilderness feel, you can't get here by monorail.
Yeah, you have to take a bus or a boat to get to this one, so it's a little less convenient, but on the plus side, it means it's generally not quite as overrun by tourists as the other hotels. If you want some peace and quiet in the midst of your hectic Disney adventure, this isn't a bad one to check out. There's a creek, there's a nature trail. The only way this could be any more peaceful is if it didn't even have the giant hotel. Hey, speak of the devil. Yes, if you feel like bringing your own shelter to Disney World, the Fort Wilderness Campground is for you. And there's plenty of activities in the campground, although most of them aren't free. But hey, if you wanted a cheap camping adventure, that's what your backyard is for. If I had one complaint about the layout of the Magic Kingdom resort areas, it's that you can't walk everywhere. Oh, there's a walkway from the Contemporary Resort to the park, and there's a walkway from the Transportation Center to the Polynesian to the Grand Floridian, and then there's a walkway from the park that goes toward the Grand Floridian and then just stops. But there's no walkway from the Transportation Center to the park, so you're stuck waiting on transportation. Sure, the wait's not as long as the walk would probably be, but some of us just like walking. But I know I'm in the minority here, and it's not worth it for Disney to pave more sidewalk just for those few of us who want to walk all the way to the park just to do more walking in the park. Now let's take a look at the Epcot resorts, which, despite Epcot's general theme of progress and the future, all share a common theme of old-timey nostalgia. They circle around another body of water, Crescent Lake, which flows into both Epcot's World Showcase Lagoon and the lake outside Hollywood Studios. From any one of these hotels, you can take a boat or even walk to both the main Hollywood Studios entrance or the famed secret Epcot back entrance. Yes, this entrance takes you to World Showcase right between France and the UK. It is never as crowded as Epcot's main entrance, so if you're going to Epcot on a busy day, you might want to think about taking a bus to the Beach Club instead and going through this entrance. It might seem like adding more steps to your journey, but it could be less of a hassle. Incidentally, ready to have your mind blown? When you walk to the back entrance, you're on a bridge. Yeah, the road that circles around the Epcot resorts goes under Crescent Lake. I crossed this bridge dozens of times before I even noticed. Disney magic! Oh, right, resorts. Let's start with the boardwalk. At first glance, this looks remarkably similar to the Grand Floridian, the same sort of old-timey area, hotel and pool, and holy crap, demon clown face, vomiting children, run for your life!
That monster's gonna give me nightmares.
What sets the boardwalk apart from the Grand Floridian is, well, the boardwalk. An actual old-fashioned boardwalk. Much like Main Street, the atmosphere creates a nostalgia for a time that never quite existed, but even if the atmosphere isn't accurate, it's completely believable. There's almost total verisimilitude, and you feel like you stepped into this long-forgotten past. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I like this better than Main Street. A beautiful lake, a more interesting variety of shops, more eateries including a pizza stand and a dessert shop, there's a dance hall, there's a giant ESPN billboard. Okay, yeah, that depletes the verisimilitude of the atmosphere a bit. But what do you expect? Sports always ruin everything. Screw you, sports. Get the hell out of my country and go back to Sportlandia.
Ah, that's funny, Doggins. Say, this is a nice looking bat. I wonder how it would look embedded in your ass.
Located near the boardwalk are two sister hotels, the Swan and the Dolphin, whose themes are statues of the animals they're named after. And animals that swim with the animals they're named after. Yeah, these hotels aren't actually run by Disney, so there's very little special about them. So let's move on to two brother hotels, the Yacht Club and the Beach Club. The Yacht Club obviously has a nautical theme, with decorations that would make Admiral Boom jealous. The Beach Club has similar ocean ties, but its theme isn't so much about sailing as it is about relaxing by the seaside. From the solarium to the marketplace, everything here makes you feel like you're visiting a luxury seaside resort. Like old-timey beachgoers with their large floppy hats and their one-piece striped swimwear who never actually go in the ocean. And that's probably just as well, since while these two clubs share a beach, you're not actually allowed in the water, which as far as I'm concerned destroys the whole point of a beach. However, the hotels also share the Stormalong Bay pool area. This is one of the coolest pool areas I've ever seen, and it alone makes me want to stay in one of these hotels. There's a sand pool, which almost makes up for the beach's lack of functionality. There's windmills, and there's the shipwreck pool on the side of the beach, and the crow's nest of the ship is the water slide, and holy crap, I want to hang out here! I just wish it wasn't so crowded. I get easily overwhelmed in the presence of other humans. But then that's why there's the quiet pool area, which must be nearly as cool as this, right? Man, it sucks being a shy introvert who likes awesome things. Hey, let's go to Animal Kingdom Lodge. At the time of this video, there are two main areas, the Jambo House and the Villas of Kidani Village, both dripping with, can anybody tell me? That's right, Disney magic! Or atmosphere, either one. The decorations around here do their very best to make up for the fact that Africa only got a bridge at Epcot, and to reprimand children. Okay, so I've been to hotels in the real Africa that are way nicer than this one, but that's not a criticism of this one, that's just me bragging about the fact that I've been to Africa. Even the quiet pool area here is pretty big, and the large pool area at Kidani is packed with all sorts of little water park-like stuff. But other than the style and the decorations, what sets this apart from the other resorts? The freaking animals. Yeah, the animals are all here to be seen for free from your room, the lobby, a short walk outside. Everywhere you look, real animals. That eliminates half your need to even enter the park. If you don't have an Animal Kingdom ticket, just take a bus over here and walk around for a little bit while doing some musical numbers completely out of context. There are also a number of resorts not directly connected to any of the parks, but I'm getting bored of walking around hotel lobbies. However, I will take a look at the newest one, the Art of Animation Resort. The lobby of this hotel is dedicated to the process of animation, particularly the development process, but the hotel rooms are in 4 wings, each dedicated to a different animated film. 2 Pixar movies and 2 cell animated movies from the 90s that were drawn from a hat, I guess. And each wing has a courtyard dedicated to the scenes and characters from its respective film, and considering they don't really have anything to do, they're a lot of fun to walk around. They're filled with almost as much detail as a land from the parks. I mean, the car section even has a Burma Shave parody. Florida has all this space, so if they're not using it for more parks, they might as well make whatever they use it for still take you into another world. I mean, sure, it's not actually another world, it's just a lifeless diorama. And it's weird that Eric's Gloria statue is tinier than all of the characters and even some of the silverware. But this has got to be as close as one could possibly come to feeling like they're stepping right into Simba's Pride Land, or Nemo's Reef, or Radiator Springs.
Cars Land at Disney California Adventure Park.
I fucking hate you, Florida. Why can't you be cool like your older brother? And if you're one of those shopping nightlife type people, then you and I have a lot less in common than I thought. But you still might want to check out Downtown Disney, because this place costs so damn much to run that they can't possibly make a profit from park admissions alone. Downtown Disney is much like any theme park resort shopping area, although there's one interesting difference. The City Walk at Universal Parks, or even the Downtown Disney in Anaheim, are located right outside the parks on the way to the parking lots, so you can't escape until you've been tempted to do some impulse shopping. But Downtown Disney in Florida is its own area that you have to go out of your way to reach. I guess they figure that most Disney World visitors are staying there for a week or so rather than smack them in the face with commercialism every time they go to their car, they can just wait until one night when they're bored enough to seek it out themselves.
Now, the parking at Downtown Disney is free, but it's also a post-apocalyptic wasteland from which no man emerges alive.
Downtown Disney here in Florida also has a bit more diversity than the Disneyland variety. There are 3 sections, which each contain a little shopping, a little dining, and a little entertainment, but they each choose one of these things to focus on primarily. Let's start with the creatively named West Side, which focuses on entertainment and cultivating street gangs to sing modernized takes on often misunderstood Shakespearean tragedies. The main event here seems to be Disney Quest, described as a 5-story interactive theme park. I haven't checked it out myself yet since it's not covered on my seasonal pass, but everything I've heard makes it sound like a glorified arcade. It's not an arcade! Okay, sorry. Look, I'm sure it's cool, it's just that every attraction I've heard about sounds like a video game. And that's not a bad thing. I'm sure a Disney Magic arcade is better than a cheap local arcade, but I'm broke, so I can't judge it for myself. There's also a Cirque du Soleil show here, which tends to draw a pretty big crowd, and an AMC movie theater. Even the dining in the area tends to be entertainment themed, such as House of Blues or Planet Hollywood. Next, we move on to Pleasure Island, which has a fair bit of fancy dining and drinking.
Admittedly, it's been a while since I've watched Pinocchio, but I seem to recall Pleasure Island being the manifestation of the negative outcomes of life hedonism. Apparently they thought that was the right way to market to tourists.
This seems to be one of the more adult-oriented areas of Disney World, but come on, it's Disney. Even the cigars are for families. There's still entertainment, including a variety of street performers. but they're mostly there to keep you distracted from the menu prices in the over-the-top themed restaurants.
Odd place for a message from the It Gets Better campaign.
Which is why we'll move on to the marketplace, which contains the one restaurant you'll actually be able to afford. Oh, wait, it's not there anymore? It was replaced by one with actual flavor? Okay. While there are other dining options, make no mistake, the marketplace is about shopping. It's also the most explicitly Disney-themed section of downtown Disney, and nowhere are both these factors more prominent than in the World of Disney store. A giant store with Disney decorations and Disney merchandise. Your one-stop shop for Disney toys, Disney clothes, Disney park toys, Disney park clothes, and even toys and clothes of Disney characters dressed up as other characters for some reason. Well, that's just excessive. There's also a separate store dedicated to just toys, most prominently Hasbro toys.
A whole army of Mr. Potato Heads!
And you guessed it, more decorations, mostly of characters who either are toys or are immature. Or both. There's even a store open year-round dedicated exclusively to Christmas. Boy, talk about not being holiday inclusive. When's National High Five Day gonna get a store, huh? There's even a Lego store! I don't know very many geeks who didn't grow up with Legos, so walking around here should fill most of you with either nostalgia or bitter hipster declarations that you were into Legos before they had licensed properties.
Something happened out here while I was inside. Harry Potter Legos, Star Wars Legos.
The most fascinating store to me, however, is the one I'll never be able to afford anything from, the Art of Disney. And yes, there are Art of Disney stores inside the parks as well, but I wanted to save this for last. This gallery contains all sorts of artwork and models from Disney movies and even Disney parks, created by a whole bunch of talented artists and also Thomas Kincaid. Sure, there are some weird or tacky pieces, but it's worth sifting through them to get to the real gems, some of which only serious Disney enthusiasts would appreciate. The best of this artwork really reminds you what the Disney company should be all about. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. Okay, that killed it! There's also an actual Disney artist working on a piece before your very eyes. It's amazing to see these masters at work in person. Sure, they're mostly tracing, but they can still concentrate with a bunch of strangers staring at them, which is pretty impressive in and of itself. Although I certainly hope the company lets them take breaks from time to time. Just saying, it seems every time I'm in here there's an artist working, and I can't help wondering when they eat and breathe and other science facts. So now you've witnessed my first experiences with Walt Disney World. Plus several subsequent visits when I had to reshoot footage after a hard drive failure. So, how does it stack up for me? Do the new things I tried at Disney World overcome my defensive nostalgia for the original Disneyland? Is it worth the extra money and extra transport time for 4 full theme parks, or does the smaller, cheaper California resort offer enough? The answer may shock you on the thrilling conclusion to Dave Does Disney!
Special kind of hat on top of my head, legitimate, double it with a ball on top. It's like 1900 with my eyelids dropped. Wool dyed like a barber pole, red and white. I'm gonna